Welcome, beloved Sangha. We are joined for another question and answer period with Lama Dawa Zangmo, who is a longtime student of His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche. She did a 3-year retreat with the Garchen Institute, and she has been given the care of the Garchen Rinpoche Center in Ukraine.
Hello, friends. So we have a few questions. I will read first question. At the end of the sadhana, everything dissolves and we are supposed to remain in the natural state. If I experience that state, it usually disappears in a few seconds. And then I only pretend and wait until Lama rings the bell. Do you have any advice on how to practice the completion stage? And also, how difficult is it to really manifest a deity? So, in order to really understand what completion stage is and how to practice it, we need to really understand how do we practice sadhana and what sadhana represents. So if we look at the different sadhanas, does not matter what deity we practice, we will see that most of them have similar template. Yeah, which is template which composed of there is composition of different parts. For example, we give rise bodhicitta, we visualize deity, we cultivate devotion toward deity, recognizing that deity is a manifestation of our root lama's mind. Then we make offerings, recite mantra, and then actually completion stage, dissolution, and then dedication. So we should remember that really Dharma path is about transformation of our own mind. So real practice happens in mind. And all outer aspects are skillful means so we can actually practice our mind and remove obstacles from our mind. And because what is reaching enlightenment? It is like natural state, which is natural, our natural, this natural state which always present in all sentient beings. So, but sadhana, if we look at it as a template, we can see this is like a map. This is like instructions to the mind about process that mind should go over in order to reach natural state of mind. For example, first we cultivate bodhicitta, altruistic mind. So whenever we have altruistic mind, at that moment when our attention turns toward other beings who need help, at this moment our ego disappears. It may happen for a very short moment, but it's impossible to have pure altruistic intention and ego grasping at the same time. So this is skillful means also. We cultivate bodhicitta, altruistic motivation, so it helps to lessen grasping of our I. Then we generate deity. And here we speak about manifestation of the deity. So when we visualize deity in front of ourselves or with closed eyes, with open eyes, it's actually not a physical eye that looks at the deity. So if you close the eyes and you look, you visualize deity with closed eyes, you will see that deity is imprinted in your mind. So it is actually manifesting. This is one way to manifest deity. Like when you visualize, you're already manifesting deity. And it's possible to manifest deity only because originally deity is inseparable with your mind. If deity would not reside in your mind, it would be impossible to create this visualization. So, and then, because deity is it's some Sambhogakaya form, It is manifestation of pure natural state, of pure intention of your guru. So basically we say that this is pure mind of our guru takes form of deity, and that's true. So, and we cultivate great devotion that also helps us to dissolve our ego. So I'm just talking about the stages which which must happen in our mind. So gradually we dissolve our ego using these skillful means with bodhicitta, visualization, devotion, also deity. It resides in our mind always, but we just do not recognize it. But when we create visualization and when we follow the sadhana instructions, we actually bringing up the pure part of our mind. So it's still concept. Deity is still concept, but it's more pure concept. And concentrate on more pure concept will help us to dissolve our ego faster. So, and then we make offerings. So making offerings also helps to dissolve our ego, and also we create huge merit because we are making offering to pure being, to our pure mind. So that actually helps us to create huge amount of merit, which is absolutely necessary in order to realize nature of mind. And then we recite mantra. We actually concentrate one-pointedly on mantra. And usually a mantra circles around seed syllable. Yeah, it's very popular that seed syllable is in the heart chakra or in navel chakra. And that's there is purpose why that visualization is in chakra places. Even though we don't practice channels and drops, when we concentrate on visualization of seed syllable on a lotus, lotus actually also represents the channels that branch out from the central channel. So even if we are not aware about this, a proper concentration and rotation of mantra activate those chakras, activate movement of prana, and actually helps prana to enter central channel. So when prana enters central channel, all discursive thinking stops and we experience nature of mind. That's why practice of deity yoga is more powerful than practice of shamatha, because we work with prana even though we might not perceive it in this way. So, and when we one-pointedly concentrate from the body of yidam or visualizing yidam in front of ourselves, we concentrate on mantra recitation. It's also very important to actually, when you recite mantra, concentrate properly. Otherwise, all the magic of all the stages might collapse. And so sometimes it's very when you practice in this way, you might experience nature of mind. Yeah, you might experience state of Mahamudra, and it just happens spontaneously. You just concentrate, and suddenly you are you aware that you're is in natural state of mind, and that's actually natural. Whenever we experience it, whether we recite mantra or we visualize deity, this is a real conclusion state. So basically, sadhana is a skillful means to show what should happen in our mind in order to remove obstacles of grasping so we can experience natural state of mind. And in this way, whenever you experience natural state of mind during sadhana, that's a real conclusion stage. That's a real completion stage. And of course, you can stop reciting mantra and remain in that state until the concepts start to rise again. Or if you are very stable and very skillful, you may continue reciting mantra, being in a natural state of mind. And so, as a result, when we practice in this way, So we understand that sadhana includes all the steps that is necessary, like altruistic motivation, devotion, accumulation of merit, and then naturally comes experience of Mahamudra. And also when we recite mantra, or like when we experience deity pride, when we really experience that we are a deity and we recite mantra from that state, with time we start to realize that everything that we perceive is a manifestation of the mandala of Yidam. And this is also tricky part. Everything outer world manifests as a mandala. It does not mean that instead of our mundane things, we start to see deities, flowers, rainbows. No, this comes from understanding that purity of Yidam and purity of everything that appears is the same. That's a real seeing of mandala. That's a real manifestation of the mandala. Because if we just start to think in this table is a deity, or this book is a deity, this sounds a little bit crazy, and it's in reality it is. But this is just thinking. This is not recognition, and real recognition happens only when we do it from the state of mind of Yidam. And also signs of manifestation of the Yidam, like Rinpoche always mentions, is great love. So the love is life force of Yidam deity, and whenever we experience great love, we can say that deity is fully manifesting. And if we don't have this great love, then that is a sign that we're lacking something in our practice, or we still have to practice more in order to manifest deity. But actually don't think that it's very difficult, because qualities of deities are coming from our mind. It's not that they are planted in our mind, they actually this natural quality of our enlightened mind. And whenever we perceive deity, which is resembling human form, it's only skillful means, because we have a human form, and it's much easier to identify ourselves with deities in human form. But actually deity represents the quality of our enlightened mind, and that's why all attributes have some explanations. So this is just representation. But because we cannot perceive deity, all these qualities with dualistic mind, or if it's very difficult to do it, so then we use the skillful means to perceive deity in specific form with specific attributes. But it's also this perception, it's also pure perception, and it helps us to purify mind more. So that's we're speaking about completion state. And at the end of sadhana, when we sit and meditate, if you can meditate for a few seconds, and then you notice that you have new concepts, and you grasp for those concepts, so then you can visualize deity again and again and again, to go through this dissolution stage and experience natural mind at least for a few seconds. So if we meditate like for 15 minutes, you can do it like 10-15 times, and every time you experience natural mind, you habituating yourself to this experience. So we're speaking about Gom habituating. So the most important, you experience it, and then you use skillful means to experience it again and again and again. When we grasp just for this state of mind and try to hold on it, it will disappear, because even concept of holding, of grasping, or wanting to have it is already concept. But this natural state of mind is beyond concept. So instead of concentrating on how to get to this experience, we are using instructions that are given in sadhanas. We concentrate properly on every stage of sadhana. Next question. Even though I can practice mindfulness while sitting in meditation session, I am unable to sustain it in my daily life. how can I hold on to mindfulness in everyday life? So this is actually a very common question. If you practice in retreat and you practice a lot, then with time you habituate to this state, and even if you leave your meditation cushion, you will notice that your mind is still in state of meditation. So it might disappear after some time, so it might just stay through entire break. But if we are not in retreat, it's a little bit harder. But as I told before, we are practicing mind, and Vajrayana path is about transformation of mind. So, which it means that everything that manifests in our world, everything that manifests can be used, everything that we perceive can be used for practice. So, from my own experience, when I just had my first retreat many years ago, I had 4 months retreat, and also my concentrations was not very strong, and also I was able to concentrate gradually to strengthen my concentration during sessions. I would notice that during break time, sometimes it would last for some time, but then it would disappear. So I started to experiment with different skillful means, and it's totally up to you what you do with, like, what kind of skillful means you are using, as long as you understand your goal. The goal is not to get distracted and sustain this mind that has strong awareness. So basically I was using very simple things. I would set up alarm clock, so it would ring every 4 minutes. So every 4 minutes it would ring, and I would just tell myself, okay, I have to go back to concentration. I have to go back to some methods to use which help me to not to lose awareness. I also ask my friends to record for me disc, CD, and where every 2 minutes they would ring the bell. But mind is very tricky. It gets used to the methods very quickly. So it might work for 1 day or for 2, but then it's your mind gets used to it, and you do not react to these bells anymore. So you have to be very resourceful and use your intelligence in order to find out new methods. For example, I would put rocks in my shoes when I would walk, and when I would walk, I visualize on each tree my guru or Tara. For example, I tell myself, from this tree to the next tree, I do not forget. And I visualize Tara and string of mantra, and I visualize how Tara pulls me to this tree. And when I reach this tree, I count 1. I used mala a lot because it just keeps you stay concentrated. And then I do the same visualization on next tree. And also when I drive, sometimes I just tell myself, okay, from this light until next light, I'm keeping this visualization. When you ride subway or streetcar, you can make yourself you can tell yourself, okay, from this stop to the next stop, I do not lose, I do not forget. The most important, not to forget, because then if you forget, you cannot use any skillful means. Yeah, but if you remember, and this method helps you to remember, and then you count, or you visualize that in the next stop there is a guru. And so when you reach next stop and you remember, then you rejoice, and it actually makes imprint in your mind. And next day when you ride subway or streetcar, you suddenly remember about this exercise. And actually in 3-year retreat, we all retreatants, we were sharing some methods. All retreatants were using some methods in order to not to forget. They would tie their hair to the ceiling. Also, they would put like bucket with cold water. So like when you stand up at night, for example, you suddenly remember about awareness. You put nails around, so that would help you to remember. So all kind of, you cannot imagine how resourceful our retreatants who want to keep their awareness all the time. And you just use all these tricks. So also, like, you can, if you want to practice Dharma in daily life, like awareness in daily life, you can set up some daily activities that you perform every day as a practice. For example, if you take shower every day, you say yourself, this shower is going to be my practice. This 10-15 minutes that I'm doing every day is going to my practice, and I'm going to be as serious about this activity as about my practice. And it's either you recite Vajrasattva mantra, or you count your breaths, or like whatever you do. So this 15 minutes, or you do visualizing that like pure nectar just purifies your body. And so this is actually one of the ways to learn how to turn your daily activities into Dharma practice. And also, we might not be able to sustain Mahamudra in daily practice yet, but using all these tricks, you at least will be able not to be distracted from concentration and not to cultivate karma, which is based on unaware concepts. Next question. I've heard that recently you have spent a few months in Ukraine helping Garchen Rinpoche students and volunteering with medication and supply distribution to the front line. What is the situation in Ukraine with the war now? The also separate question, how should Buddhists there relate to such an extreme situation, and particularly how should Buddhists in Ukraine who are in the midst of that situation relate to it? Actually, when I was in Ukraine, everybody was asking that question, everyone. So how Buddhists should relate to the war. So situation is actually very shocking. It is as manifestation of a hellish realm. So, and unfortunately, Buddhists have to take weapon, and Buddhists from Sangha of Garchen Rinpoche, like Yaroslav Litovchenko, his translator, he never had military training or education. Armen, his lawyer. We have Volodya, who is studying Garchen Rinpoche and Chukinima, and who is raising by himself 2 kids. We have Lama Zhenya Takovsky, who did 3 years retreat, who is student of Chukinima. So, and who just had his daughter born a few months ago at the beginning of war. So they are all on front line, and of course, it was not their wish to fight, but unfortunately we're in a situation when they have to protect their families and also other countries. So for Buddhists, we perceive it as example of how extreme ignorance and inability to distinguish between good and bad, how absence of knowledge about karma cause and effects results into this killing and basically into genocide in Ukraine, when hospitals and kindergartens and schools bombed and lots of civilians die. Those ignorant beings for themselves, they already manifested hell realm, but many people are suffering because of that manifestation. And so our Buddhist brothers and sisters who have to be on front line, they speak a lot about this story, this famous story when 500 merchants were traveling on a ship from the Treasure Island, and there was one thief among them, and that thief was planning to kill those 500 people in order to steal their goods. And there was one bodhisattva who actually, with clear-minded mind, could see the intention of this thief. And so Bodhisattva thought, whether I stay aside and let this thief to kill all these 500 people, so causing suffering to these people and also creating extremely negative karma, which will take him to the hell realms for a long time, or I kill this thief and I will save life of 500 people, and also I will save this thief from negative karma. Garchen Rinpoche says it's very important to separate negative action or negative intention from human. So if you prevent someone from such extremely negative action, you actually help them not to be reborn in hell or to be liberated sooner. And you actually also, you are making connection to those beings. And so whenever you practice pure Dharma, you connected to those beings who were going or creating such negative things that actually you actually have very strong ability to pull these beings out of the hell realms. So those ignorant beings who are killing people in Ukraine, they're actually doing this out of strong ignorance, and preventing them to do so actually helps them to avoid extremely negative karma and not to be reborn in hell realms. And so in this way, and actually people protect their families from suffering and other countries also. So in terms of, sometimes it's very hard to stay away from negative emotions. But about this, I have another question from the person. Some of my friends, smart, kind, wonderful people, were killed by Russian invaders in this war. These days, I feel strong anger and hatred toward Russians. I understand that it harms me, but cannot resolve it. How can I transform it into something constructive? And it's actually very difficult when you see all this suffering, killing, raping, and even torturing pets. It's actually very difficult not to give rise anger and hatred. And I could say that people in our Sangha actually understand that hatred is negative emotion, and it's not good. It actually harms ourselves. But it's still, when emotions such as strong in such circumstances, sometimes it's very chaotic. It's very difficult actually to stay away from this negative emotion. So the very important thing to understand, we protect not only lives, but also protect values. So when people who want to harm, they not only want to kill, but they want to, by torturing, they want to plant in our minds fear and terror. And that's actually, they want to bring their values. And it's, whenever we feel fear or anger, if we do not recognize, we're actually like losing that small battle. But it's no problem about giving rise to anger, but it's important to recognize it and transform it. So there are so many methods, and we need patience, especially in such extreme situations. Gaur Rinpoche says that if you cannot resolve this issue of anger, just better not to think about harm doers, but think strongly about Lama and about your Yidam deity. Visualize that Lama and Yidam manifest in sky as huge as sky, and have strong devotion, and that devotion will help you to remove fear and anger. And also, so every time we are able to overcome anger, we are actually protect our values of love, compassion, and freedom to think for ourselves. And also, like, I was speaking to people, we had many air raids, and like we have these sirens, intense sirens, and we know, okay, rockets are flying somewhere and they're going to fall somewhere. It means somebody's house or school will be destroyed, and maybe somebody will lose their life. So natural tendency is to pray, just not my house, just not my life. But it's actually feeds fear. So in order to avoid fear, it's better to think, okay, rocket is flying somewhere, so it's going to fall somewhere. I pray to Tara, so it's fall somewhere in field or somewhere where it cannot harm anyone. Or if it kills someone, may that person will swiftly travel to Devachan. In this way, we actually help the mind of the consciousness of those people who get killed, and we strengthen our like aspiration for them to be reborn in Devachan, and we actually practice compassion and get rid of hatred and anger. So it's extremely difficult. It's just we need lots of patience and do it again and again and again. So, and also we have Russian Sangha, and I know that there are Russian people who do not support this war. There are few of them, and I feel sorry for them, because being part of that community, they have to pay for consequences of this collective karma. This last question. I wish to do a 3-year retreat, yet I am not sure whether I'm ready or not. You were among those who did the first 3-year retreat at the GBI. Do you have any advice on how to recognize whether or not I'm ready? And how should I prepare in order to get the maximum benefit from the long retreat? This is very good intention to do long retreat, but before actually start preparing to it, it's very important to understand some main concept, like the purpose of retreat, the intention of retreat, and the retreat master who is leading you in retreat. And those points are very, very, very important. So basically, what is the purpose of retreat? Purpose of retreat is not just to close yourself so you're comfortable. Purpose of retreat temporarily remove you from the distraction so you can concentrate on transformation of your own mind. And there are so many practices there, but it's all about transformation of your mind, like helping you to see how works your mind, what process going in, like how actually samsara is rooted in your mind, because samsara is rooted in mind, not outside. And when you actually see this, you know how to work with this so you can be liberated from samsara. And going into long-term retreat is very important. That this might be very unpleasant work. Don't expect that you will be experiencing blissful states right away at the beginning, until you learn how to concentrate properly, how to look in your mind, and how to transform these chain reactions, how to transform these habitual tendencies. Is going to be hard. As long as you actually tame your mind to such extent that you can transform everything that is arising in your mind, then you will be experiencing blissful states, and it will be very pleasant to continue your retreat. So this is very important to understand. You will need lots of patience, lots of diligence, because even like ability not to be late for every session affects your state of mind. It's very interesting. I know that people who were not able to, or like sometimes people who are not able to keep up with their schedule, who like are not on time for session, it actually just this reflects on their perseverance in working with their mind. So outer aspects of retreat, like diligence, discipline, are super important. So then we speak about intention. And intention, it means like how, whether your mind ripened to this intense practice. If you have pure intention to benefit other beings and go into retreat with this intention, then you will easily overcome all the obstacles, sickness, difficulties, tiredness. It's very important to be very honest about your intention, because also some people go into retreat to experience something new, for fun or for fame, or I become Lama after retreat, I can make money or whatever, or like I can be famous. Or sometimes people go into retreat in order to escape from their daily problems, from their daily conflicts. But actually what happens, when you go into retreat, your problems do not dissolve. So because your habitual tendencies remain the same, you just remove kind of outer aspects of your life, but you bring your mind into retreat. So all the perception, all the tendencies, all the habits still remain. And what I noted at the beginning of our 3-year retreat, so we started our retreat, nobody became saint right away, and all these habitual tendencies worked the same, but because we did not have anything big happening on outside, we were secluded, we were not, we didn't have access to the news or to parties or like to some events. Our mind would always find something small. Like it would be like dirty dot on a stove in kitchen, but reaction would be the same as something big happened. And it's very strange, because at the beginning of retreat, when we still did not tame our mind, you react the same as in your daily life on tiny things. Or you like something like really tiny happened on something like you cold or you're hot, and your reaction is huge. And because you don't have any access to vent it out, you cannot tell to anyone, you cannot shout to anyone. So you're like you can actually sit and suffer from that small dot on the stove, and or like you suffer because, and you want to write your retreatant fellows. And sometimes we would write really crazy notes at the beginning. Something small happens and you write like 5 pages note. I'm honestly telling you, because starting of retreat does not mean that we like immediately like calm down our minds. It's actually we are going to hell, because it's like we don't have means to vent out, we don't have means to be distracted, and like these our minds, our habits, they are here. We do not leave them when we enter the retreat. So, and it was like just later, we were talking about this at the end of retreat, and we were laughing about this, of course, about our reactions, but it was serious, it was real for us. But when everybody finished Fivefold Path of Mahamudra and started to practice Mahamudra, all issues dissolved. There were no issues, there were no conflicts, everything was fine. Even if somebody would have negative emotion arising, nobody would pay attention, because everybody would know this is just temporary. This is just, it's okay. So it was really, really big transformation and sudden transformation. Everybody accumulated merit, practiced Mahamudra, and then we lived in peace and happiness there. So, but otherwise, especially if you do group retreat, be prepared, be very careful, And we speak about intention. If you have very strong, pure intention, it means your mind is mature and you do not escape from life, but you have intention actually to help beings, then you're ready to go into retreat. Then master. It's very important to know who will be your retreat master. it's only because some Lama has this title of retreat master does not mean that you have strong connection to this Lama. So before, it's good if you have devotion. Before going into retreat, it's very important to have good connection with your retreat master. So you know that you understand him or her, you understand the methods, and you know what kind of access you can have to this Lama. Because also people have different expectations from retreat masters. Yeah, people have emotion breakdowns, sickness, some difficulties. People want just emotional support, and this Lama works a different way. It does not mean that Lama does not love their students, but Lama is not a nanny who will come every day, who will check on your schedule, and who will give you emotional support. Lama will give you instruction how to work with your emotions. No, but do not expect that Lama will act according to your expectations. So then people get angry, and people may even leave retreat, but it's very important to know what you want from Lama. You want clear instructions, and you're going to practice in such a way that his or her instructions will be realized in your practice. So you actually kind of, you take responsibility that you're using this time and these resources for the best. So, and it's very important to know. And also, if you want to go into long-term retreat, it's, I think, from my own experience, it's important to do at least 2 short-term retreats. What I mean, 3-4 months. Because sometimes we do one short-term retreat, like few months, and everything goes okay, and we think, okay, that's how it's going to be into your retreat. But it's different in every retreat. So it's very good, at least try couple secluded retreats, because when you practice Drup chants with Lamas, it's different. Vajra master with his or her awareness supports your practice, and also assembly supports your practice. But when you are in secluded retreat by yourself, it's completely different. You have to build your own discipline, your stamina to sit and actually practice. And for that, it's very important to have at least 2 short-term retreats. So, and we were very fortunate through the blessing of Sangha and blessing of Garchen Rinpoche to do this retreat. But also remember, if you go to retreat and you receive offerings in retreat, you have to repay every penny. You make karmic connection with every benefactor who gave you 1 penny. Everyone. So basically, you take their karma on yourself, and it's very serious. Like as soon it's like contract, like whenever you accept anything, if you are not sure that you can be successful, better get a job, make your own money, and you or retreat. So, but if you accept money from other people, so you take responsibility for part of their karma. That's why they say like benefactor reach enlightenment together with yogi. So this is a really big thing, and this is samaya. As soon as you accept something, you take this samaya, whether you realize it or not. You take this responsibility, and then you have to work out diligently because somebody is supporting you and relying on you. And after you finish retreat, like of course, like everybody has like families and their like works, but it's your responsibility to spread dharma in your own way. It can be in your family to raise good children, who could actually teach others about love and compassion. It's your responsibility to teach your co-workers, to get to habituate to good karmic propensities. So like this already kind of responsibility for the rest of your life, no matter where you are or what you are doing. So that concludes all my questions and answering. Thank you so much, dear Dharma brother and sister, for your attention. And forgive me if there is something that you could not understand or I was not clear about.
Thank you, Lama Dawa Zangmo, for being here with us during our Mani retreat and your availability to share your experience and your wisdom with us. We're all fortunate and grateful for the time that you have generously given to answer our questions and to inspire our practices. And we hope we have the opportunity to hear from you in the future and wish you great blessings.